Welcome to the Fantasy Think. I'm Jared, and today I'm going to do three more off the cuff reviews because I read a lot of books and I don't have time to do individual reviews for everything that I read, but I try to at least get some words out there about all the stuff I read. And so none of these would be written reviews, which is what I normally do when I do a single book. I read it out first and do something a bit more articulate than just me rambling off. But sometimes you got to catch up. So here we go again with me rambling off about three books I finished recently. And so the first one I'm going to bring up is actually a graphic novel. It is called Box Office Poison by Alex Robinson. And this was a collection that came out in 2001, I believe, and it collected a series that went on in the 90s sometime. And so this is a black and white comic. It's kind of a slice of life type of comic that takes place in New York City around the 90s, and it details the lives of your typical starving artist community here. There's a wannabe writer who works in a bookstore but hasn't been published and he's trying to get published. There's a comic book artist, which I think is who that's kind of like the self ID of Alex Robinson in here. Um, and there's also a bunch of other characters in and out of their lives that are represented in this story. And the stories it's pretty cool. You can definitely identify with the characters, especially those creative types who like to do things and have regular jobs. And so the characters are very identifiable in that manner. Um, and some of the relationships the relationships are the big theme in here. Relationships with each other, their friends, and how that all works. And there's a lot about finding love and trying to come to grips with the romanticism of love and the reality of love and how it works between people in a relationship and stuff like that. So that is in here. There's also the ins and outs of having dreams that you want to work towards and the reality of just getting by. So that is, and how they clash a lot. Those things don't always work together. Believe me, I know. So it's it's a real look at friends, behind closed doors and just all the stuff that they go through, and at a at the 20 something plus age. Um, Really cool. There was a lot of parts in here that kind of dragged a little bit. It was very long. It's a very big chunker of a graphic novel, over 600 pages, and there were some that I was like, okay, that was if that came out that month in the issue, and I was collecting individual issues of this, I would have been like, this month's issue was kind of boring, or just didn't seem to incite my excite move the story along as much as I wanted it to. But then there was some really, really uh, poignant points in here. Some issues that really had something to say about the society they were in. You can definitely tell it's pre 9/11 just by their attitude to the people in New York and stuff like that. Um, there's something distinctive about life before and then life after 9/11, especially when it comes to New York City and its environs. There is, of course, plenty of commentary on the state of the comic book industry in here, and some of it's quite biting commentary. Some of it's nostalgic in a way, and there is the main one of the main themes, of course, is tackling the fact that early comic book creators kind of got ripped off by the big companies that they were working for. the companies that took their characters that they created and made mega movie billions off of them. Maybe not billions, but millions. That we're talking the Marvels and the DCs and stuff like that. So there's a lot of talk about this in here, and there's a lot of and it presents a lot of sides too. Not there's not like both sides here. There's a lot of sides. There's a lot of different angles to tackle that issue from, and he does a pretty good job of doing that. I Alan Moore has done that quite a bit in his some of his work, and Alan Moore, of course, is Alan Moore. He does it unbelievable. He's wonderful at most of the stuff that he writes, but he tackles it pretty well in here too, and it was a pretty good job. So overall, it's a really decent story, really good thing. It's thick, it's long, but stick with it, and it really does have some good payoff at the end. So next, I will bring up something I just had a discussion on that'll be out pretty soon. Behold the Man by Michael Moorcock. This is a 1969 science fiction novel that's in the Sci-Fi Masterworks collection, and we do a discussion monthly on Sci-Fi Masterwork collected books on page chewing uh, through the page chewing forums. So check out page chewing forums if you would like to ever join any of those discussions. But or read along with us. And so this month was Behold the Man by Michael Moorcock, and this was a nice, short, fun book. A bit more, it's more fantasy than sci-fi. The only sci-fi thing in here is a little bit of time travel, and it's not explained or anything like that. This is more of a what if you went back in time type of thing. A common concept in science fiction and fantasy and stuff like that. And uh, the of course, you can see by the cover that you can probably tell where he's going back to, right? So this book, Moorcock's character, his main character, Carl, is he's dealing with a lot of psychological issues. He's dealing with a lot of philosophical issues, and he's kind of a messed up person. He ends up going back in time. It's there's nothing I'm giving away here. It's right there, and and we see the causality. We see the inevitability, I guess, of history, is what Moorcock's getting at here, and um, it's really cool how it was really neat how he went through this stuff. There's it's a there's not a there's slight problems with the book, but I don't know. It was kind of it really gripped me though because it was so short and so quick, but it really made you think about a lot of things. He brought up a lot of stuff that I already think about a lot anyways. So there wasn't anything new in here that I hadn't thought about, but this was written in 1969, so I wasn't reading it when I was, 1 years old. Um, so these thoughts, of course, have been around a long time. They've been around literature a long time, and so Moorcock, put something together back then that had all these thoughts in them about religion, about history, and about how we see it, how we view it, how things eventually get changed because they have to. You can't have oral histories without the oral histories somewhat changing as they're told, and even written histories that somehow change as they are rewritten and translated and everything else. And so it really is just it's a brilliant execution as far as getting what he wanted to say on the page through a storytelling medium without just blurting it out as an essay. It was actually, you follow a character and you would follow a story, and it was fun. It was there was some humor in there. It was irreverent. It was very speculative on how history comes about and how religious belief comes about. And um, we in our discussion we had discussed how if it was written today, would Moorcock have been a bit more crucified? I guess is the word. Would he have been more called out because he does tackle some pretty controversial topics in here. It's controversial for some people. For most of us, I think we would just look at it and go, "Oh, that's neat," So depends on how deep you want to delve into that aspect of this. So, anyways, I had a lot of fun reading this book. It was quick, it was easy, and it was thoughtful. And so, if you need like a palate cleanser, but that's still something that tickles the brain, uh, behold the Man by Michael Moorcock. That's for you. All right, and the last of my, and not the least by far, of my off the cuff reviews here is Klara and the Sun by Kazuo Ishiguro. And this was a pretty spectacular read. It is another short book. It's only 300 pages, and it is a science fiction novel that um, takes this idea of having a best friend, an artificial friend, artificial best friend that geared towards children. In this case, so it in the conceit of the novel, nothing I'm giving away here, is that the whole thing is from the artificial friend's point of view. Klara is the artificial friend. It's her point of view throughout the whole thing, and it really delves into what makes us conscious, what it means to have free will, what it means to, what makes us human, of course, and what it means to be a person, to be not a machine. What How do people look at an artificial friend that walks, talks, seems to think, seems to have its own thoughts? Um, what At what point is it go beyond the programming? At what point does this idea of um just a soul or something like that, conscious thought, come into play when you have so many things, you know, environmental factors impinging upon what may be something programmed, but the questions come up: Are we programmed? Are we programmed? In our RNA, DNA, and deep down in our genes and stuff like that, and then do environmental factors then take their course to form our thoughts and feelings and stuff like that? The same could be asked about an AI intelligence in a robot form, an artificial friend form. And these themes just run throughout there. They hit hard and heavy a lot of the times. The main character, has this naivety about her that keeps the story sweet, and um, you know, you feel bad for her. You want her to succeed at what she's doing. You want everything to go well for her because of her naivety and her sweetness of character. And but yet you're constantly reminded by the outside forces that she sees that she is not human. She is something bought in a store, and so it's really compelling. It really asks a lot of those questions, and when you think too deeply about it, this book is quite disturbing, um, because it asks a lot of questions deep down that you may not want to go to. You may not want to ask those questions, and because it's from her sweet point of view, you don't have to go there. You can just read it and enjoy it and move along. And it's something that you'll put down and you'll think about later and go, "Oh, wow, that's kind of dark." Um, you know, Putting something away. Uh, it's just, yeah, it is kind of dark, and I'm gonna This is a library book that I borrowed from the library, and I'm going to put this back in the library slot. Am I going to think of it again? Most likely, yeah. Uh, and that should tell you something about one of the themes in the novel here. So, um, yeah, this was Ishiguro's prose is fantastic. He really has an economical way with words that really gets multiple meanings across in as few sentences as possible, and he does it expertly. And I really enjoyed his writing, his style, and I really enjoyed just this story in general as well. It does have a Toy Story feel, I guess, in a way. Um, I go back to that movie a lot for a lot of things because that was a really good movie. But of course, Ishiguro tackles the themes of that in its own way, and yeah, fantastic book, fantastic book. This may be one of my top five of the year, maybe top 10, probably definitely top 10. I'll give it that. We'll see how the rest of the year goes. It could creep into the top five. We'll see. It's a spectacular read. So I highly recommend it. We had a lot of discussions on it on our podcast, Speculative Speculations. So check that out if you get a chance when those are posted. And so, with all that said, those are my three off the cuff reviews right now. I hope you like that. Please let me know if you read any of those, and please like and subscribe if you like this video, and please be good to each other. Thank you.